Welcome to the April edition of 71 Magazine. I'm your host, John Bryanton, and we'd like to give special thanks to OMU for underwriting this segment today. You know, with all the pollen that's in the air and all the rain that we've experienced lately, you can definitely tell that spring is alive and well in Owensboro. As we're preparing to move into summer, though, we're going to be using a lot more water, whether it's to water our lawns or fill our pools or even water our plants. So joining me in the studio today is Sonia Dixon, who's a Communication and Public Relations Manager with OMU, and she's going to give us some tips on water usage this year. So, Sonia, welcome to the show.
Well, happy spring, happy summer.
I know, gosh. And I'm glad, hopefully this rain will slow down a little bit. Here's my fear, though. It's going to suddenly turn 90 degrees, and then we're going to be in the heat of summer. So if we can enjoy some spring, let's do it right now. Okay, before we get into the water usage tip, let's begin with talking and let our viewers know, where does OMU get their water? Because I think a lot of people, believe it or not, are under the impression we get it out of the Ohio River.
You know, we have an underground aquifer in this area, and many, over 100 years ago, as a matter of fact, 120 years ago almost, they had the foresight to dig in and put wells in, and were able to take from this aquifer. And what's wonderful about that is it's not surface water, so it's not exposed to as many contaminants and those types of things that can come in from the surface. And there are some natural layers of clay and other sediments and those types of things that protect it. So it's taken from there, obviously still treated, even though we've got a great source and goes through our process. But you know, that means that we have an ample supply and that we have a safe supply. And so we're very, very fortunate in this area.
Well, let me ask you a question, sort of off script here, but I mean, is the way we get our water, is that common throughout the United States or uncommon?
It's uncommon. Most organizations that get water, most companies, it's usually from surface water. And there's a whole different treatment process in that, as you can imagine. Because, you know, for instance, the Ohio River is used for transportation. You know, those sorts of things. So there are a lot of things that it come in contact with that, and certainly they're able to deliver still very safe water, but they have to go through a much more extensive treatment process than we do here.
Well, speaking about treatment, tell our viewers about the testing process of water.
You know, it amazes me, and I meant to calculate this and I didn't, the number of tests that we do, and they're validated by the State Division of Water. You know, it's continual, and it's not just, you know, we don't just test at the wells, we don't just test as the water's coming out of the plant, we test throughout our entire system. So what that says to me is that I feel so much more comfortable knowing that, you know, we're not just testing once a year or once a month, that we're continually testing the water, making sure that everything's in balance and making sure that we're delivering good, safe water.
Okay, now OMU provides an annual water quality report each year.
We do.
And I think 2018 is out. And where can they get that information?
It is available on our website at omu.org. You can easily find it. It's under water quality reports. If you don't want to go there, or you feel like you would like to have a copy of that, certainly if you could call us at 270-926-3200, you can get a copy of that. And what's great about that is it does have a lot of reporting of all of our findings for the year, a summary of that, but it also gives you some really great information about your source water, how it's treated, all of those sorts of things, and some phone numbers to call if you have some additional questions.
Okay, because I know the last time that I looked at one of those water quality reports, you know, it was like a Scud missile going over my head. I guess I didn't understand it. So if I need to, there is a number there where I can get some clarification.
Yeah, certainly that same number that we mentioned, the 926-3200. Call, and you know, our water quality group can talk to you. But what's great is that, you know, if you read that narrative in there, there's some just really good information about things that you may not have known about the water in your community, and you know, that applies throughout. I mean, a lot of people don't realize that OMU provides water also to the water districts that serve the entire county. So our entire community is using this great underground aquifer that we have, and their water's going through our treatment process.
It is amazing because, see, I live out in the county, so I get my water from Southeast Davis County Water. And I had one of my neighbors, you know, when I mentioned something about OMU water, there was something in the newspaper, they said, oh, well, I'm glad we don't, you know. And I was like, listen, yes, you get your water from OMU because they supply all those areas.
And we're so glad to do that. You know, What's wonderful about that is that we know that we're able to provide safe water to our entire county. We know that we have an ample supply to do that, and because we are working with the districts, we're all able to keep our costs lower. So you're getting affordable water delivered to your home.
I don't think people really realize it, but the next time that you're out in another state or whatever, go ahead and taste the water, because listen, I'm not going to say there's anything wrong with the water where I was born and raised at.
Oh, no.
Okay, but I can tell a huge difference. My father, when he comes to visit me, always talks about how good Owensboro water is.
That's so great to hear, and that's because we don't have to go through quite as much treatment.
Right.
The fact that we have a wonderful the aquifer
Right.
is there, that it is able to filter out a lot of things. That we're just very fortunate, and the fact that we are expanding our Cavan plant, which is a state-of-the-art treatment facility, to even treat more. It's just it's kind of the best of all worlds coming together, and you hear that a lot, and we have always you hear people, we're proud of that.
Absolutely.
You hear a lot of people go, oh, we've got great water.
Absolutely.
We've got great water. And some people that are aware of where it comes from really like to brag about that, and I think it is something to brag about.
Speaking about the Calvin plant, how is that coming?
It's right on schedule. A lot of people may not realize this, but that plant was built to be expanded. As you may know, we have Plant A, and that's the name of the plant. Everybody always wants to know,
Right.
we have the Cavan plant, but we don't. What is Plant? Plant A is just Plant A. But it is the older of the facilities, and we have some of those that date back to its original construction, 1900, then on. And obviously, we've experienced some issues there, and we have had some settling at that building that is unsettling for us.
Right.
So we are concerned about that, and we wanted to eventually close down that facility. But the Cavan was built to expand in case we had growth in our area, or should it need to become our primary treatment facility. And so what you see above the ground is just that little bitty building, and you don't think much, and it goes down several stories. And what's down there, obviously the treatment, some of the things that we need to treat, the piping, those sorts of things. But there are also places where it could be expanded. There was some extra piping put in. There were some pads put in so that we could, put equipment on those sorts of things. So what they're really doing is what was intended. That's a 10 million gallon a day facility, and it's being expanded to 30. So it can completely replace the Plant A.
Okay.
And what's great about that is our peak is around 19 million gallons a day. So people are probably wondering, why are you building it to 30? But you have to realize we need to be able to take down different trains or different portions of that.
Okay.
So let's say, just imagine 3 sections that produce 10, okay? So we may need to close one of those down for just routine maintenance, and so we have those other 2 up and running.
Okay.
Or if we did have, a really, really dry summer, and we need a lot more water out there,
Right.
we can certainly go beyond that. So the flexibility of that plant is going to be absolutely amazing.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. 19 million gallons a day? Sonia, that's a lot of water.
That's our peak. Generally, it's 13 to 14, which is still a lot.
That's a lot of water.
It is a lot of water, isn't it?
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's amazing to me. Keep in mind that we are providing to the county, and
Right.
there's some irrigation going on there. Just think about it. There are pools. There are showers every day, washing our laundry, washing our car, watering our
Right.
yards, car washes. Restaurants, hospitals. Everybody's using water, and so It
Wow.
is surprising, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is. Well, listen, speaking of a lot of water, how much water does OMU store, and where is it?
Well, it's kind of interesting. We do have the water towers that you see all over, and there are different types of those. And we have about 5 million gallons that are in storage. What's interesting is that we have an underground storage facility at the Cavan, at Plan A, which you can't even see. And when we go in to maintain that, there's just a little tidbit, divers go in to check that out. We wouldn't want that job, would we?
No.
And then we have a large one. The others are located throughout the city. You've seen Hillcrest and Parrish
Right.
Avenue and Frederica and that kind. And then we also have one located adjacent to the Cavan plant. Now we'll be adding another storage facility as part of the expansion at the same location.
Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about smart water usage for the summer. What are some tips you can offer?
I just talked about the fact that we have ample supply, that we have good water,
Right.
and that it's affordable. But we still all want to manage our usage, because for most people, you're also paying a sewer charge on that, which is charged by RWRA, but billed by OMU. You just want to think about that. And first and foremost, I think just thinking about what you're doing and when you're doing it. A lot of people like to wash their cars. I don't blame you a bit. If you're doing that in the heat of the day, it's probably not a good idea. It's evaporating. You're having to add more water. Same thing with watering your yard or your lawn. I know that it's we all want pretty lawns and those sorts of things, but I see sprinklers running when it's raining.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people out there in the heat of the day watering their lawns and their flowers, and I know that that's evaporating off of those plants. A lot of people have very, very specific feelings about watering in the morning or watering in the evening. That's up to you, but certainly water not during the heat of the day. And maybe think about some plants that don't require as much water. There are a lot that are a little more heat resistant and can take it a little bit more. But thinking about when you're doing those things, I think makes a big difference.
It's amazing. I think we as humans, we take water for granted.
You know,
I think we do, and it's a very, very precious resource.
I think we do too. Every time I turn that sink on or every time I turn my hose on, I expect it to be there, and I don't think a thing about how much I'm using,
right?
Because I know there's more.
Right. Yeah.
But certainly just thinking about when you're using it, and how you're using it. Controlling leaks. Leaky hoses are. I don't know about you, but I've never had a hose that didn't leak at the faucet.
Right.
But maybe adding some washers, doing some things like that. That adds up. I think what's really interesting. A lot of people are using rain barrels.
Yes.
To water their gardens, and that's fantastic. I encourage that, not because there's not ample water,
right.
but because that is another source, and you have it there, and it's rainwater.
Right.
Why not use it? So, kind of thinking that through, and a lot of people run their washers on the highest setting, or they don't do a full load. Thinking about that, because that's also using electricity, so you want to think about that. Same thing with their dishwasher. Make sure that it's good and full. I hope everyone has an aerator on their faucets so that it's kind of aerating that water and you're not needing as much of it. Same thing with your showers and your tubs.
Yeah. Well, Sonia, what do people do when it comes to filling pools?
You can have a separate meter for that, so that there's not necessarily, you pay for that water.
Right, but I mean, but maybe
Mm-hmm.
what you can do is get it to where you don't pay for the sewer charge.
You would need to look at the metering system on that and how you would want to do that. But certainly you can do that, and it may be worth a meter. Same thing, we have irrigation meters that a lot of people use. I say irrigation, that's really kind of sprinkle meters in the city. So if you wanted to do that and not pay the sewer charge, there is a charge up front to get that meter put in and those sorts of things, but it could save you money in the long run. But we can run those numbers for you.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, let's mention the Community Cares program. This is how our viewers can help people within our community who may struggle paying their utility bills.
Well, what's wonderful about that is that customers are able to put their money with OMU's money, which is their money as well, because we are your public utility. But we make a contribution to the Salvation Army periodically throughout the year, around $50,000 a year, and that money is used to help those that need assistance with paying their bill. And what's wonderful about that is that the Salvation Army has a wonderful way of vetting people to make sure that it is going to those that need, and that money is going directly to OMU customers. So the OMU money is going to OMU customers. But we think about this kind of stuff around Christmas because it's cold, and we know people are struggling, and people are trying to have a Christmas for their family and that sort of thing, and that's wonderful. But we're coming upon summer, and summer are some of our highest bills electric wise.
Yes.
And what is really difficult about that is we forget about that. We think about it. So people, as soon as June hits, it seems like it starts getting warm again, and people are having to run their air conditioners, or they're running window units. A lot of people are in homes that aren't buttoned up, and when we say buttoned up, they're not fully insulated. They're not full. They're losing a lot of that air. So you can imagine what they're going through. It's interesting. A lot of people who struggle to pay their bill are, you would think people would have higher bills that live in newer homes or homes that are more, but they don't. A lot of people who are struggling are those that are paying some of the highest bills because they're living in homes or renting apartments that aren't fully insulated and aren't as efficient as the ones that we're accustomed to.
Right.
So certainly all you have to do, you get your bill every month, you can add some money in there, you can write a check, you can even give to someone specifically if you'd like to come in the office. A little change adds up here and there, one-time gifts, those sorts of things. All of that money is used strictly to help customers. None of that money is paid administratively. So I want to make that very clear. There is no charge. The Salvation Army does not charge us to do that.
Okay.
So what's wonderful about that is, every single dollar, every single penny is going to those that need. And what a unique way to help people. I think we think about food and I think we think about clothing, but there are those necessities, those bills that are coming every month, and one of those is unfortunately your utility bill.
That's right, and we know how hot it can get in Owensboro during the summer. It can get very, very warm, and like you said, a lot of folks who rent and things of that nature, they're not in control of the insulation of that house, and so sometimes they're subjected to these higher bills because of that, and that's not something they can control.
Right, or they're in a situation where they can't afford to make upgrades, and so we certainly understand that. And we want to help, and that's one of the reasons. Even though we have ample power supply, we have ample water supply, we still want to talk to you about reducing your bill. And we, as homeowners and others, are able to make more changes to our homes than they are. So let's just kind of think about that. I think the summer's a great time. We have a lot of humidity in this area, so we have a lot of people that need to run their air conditioning continually.
Okay. Well, listen, Sonny, where can people get more information?
Oh, always visit us at omu.org, and if you don't see it there, let us know. But also call us at 270-926-3200. You can learn about the Community Cares Program. Our staff can talk to you about automatic payments with that, anything like that. Follow us on Facebook. Sign up for our texting option. Follow us on Twitter. Those are great ways to find out things that are happening immediately, not just outages, but anything else that may be affecting you, street closings, anything like that. It's an easy way to have that information at your fingertips.
Excellent. Sonia, thanks for joining this month. Appreciate it. And thank you for tuning in. And on behalf of everyone at OMU and OCTC, we wish you a wonderful summer, and we'll see you right back here in May.